What is going on, nation? It is your boy, C-Ton, coach of your Lehigh Valley Phantoms, bringing you our Week 6 battle of the PWC against Gio, coach of the Florida Flygons. If you'd like to know more about the team that we are bringing, you can check out the team builder, which is in our description down below. But getting right into it, looking at his team, we kind of whiffed on a fair amount of our predictions. Luckily, the way we build, we avoid falling into the only prep for 6 months trap. We try to prep for an overall team. So I feel like we still have the team to take care of this. But I didn't think the Vikavolt, Meloetta, or Cobalion would be coming. And immediate thoughts are potential Trick Room mode with Meloetta and Vikavolt, which could be pretty scary. Obviously, T-Tar and Excadrill to set up sand and abuse sand and try to take advantage of countering my rain. Um, I don't really know what Cobalion would be. Maybe Air Balloon, maybe Shookaberry. Try to keep my ground attacks in check. Um, but yeah, I mean, without further ado, his leads are potentially Cobalion, Tyranitar, and Meloetta if it is a Trick Room variant. So I'm going to lead off with Politoed as it matches up well against all three of these options. And we're going to see that he leads with his Cobalion. This turn, I was really tempted to make an aggressive read on the Volt Switch and go into Swampert, but after calculating it, I found out that it would only be doing about 20-ish%. Obviously, it does 25, and I figured a Scald would be pretty safe because his Scald switching is Sceptile, and Sceptile, any damage on it helps clear way for the rest of my team. So I'm just going to throw off a Scald, and I get a crit, which takes this thing down to 83%. He said later that the crit mattered. I don't necessarily agree with this, because as you can see, he goes for Thunderbolt here on my Kyurem switch, and without the crit, min damage was 49% to his set, and min damage of my Kyurem's Ice Beam is 55%. And he said he had Flash Cannon and Steelium Z to like take advantage of this, but unless he made aggressive plays and aggressive switch arounds, I don't think he was ever really going to take advantage of it. But yeah, regardless, his Vikavolt is really low. Take it out with an Ice Beam, and I don't know if he was Trick Room at this point, but that threat is now gone. And he goes into his Cobalion. I'm going to go into my Hitmontop because I can take it on very well. And he reveals Magnet Rise, which is a really cool tech to take on the likes of my Swampert. So I'm assuming this is a defensive variant at this point. But his close combat switch-in is Meloetta, and even that is neutral. So I'm just going to go for it, get off a clean 50%. And then I'm going to go into my Ninetales, because as we discussed in our team builder, this is our most expendable member, and I didn't prep for this Meloetta super well. So my best play is to come in here, get up my Aurora Veil, and then basically sack this thing off to revenge kill this Meloetta, because it could be a problem long term. So I'm going to get up my Aurora Veil here. I have the Light Clay, so this is going to be lasting 8 turns, and my Ninetales goes down. But with that being said, this thing is in range to be revenge killed by pretty much anything. I go into my Politoed because I have the rest, so even if I take a decent amount of damage, I'm not going to be taking too much, and then I can just rest it off later if I need to, because most of his team can't take advantage of this aside from this Sceptile. Even Excadrill doesn't kill at this range. But he goes into a Sceptile, and we go into our Assault Vest Hitmontop, because as we went over in the team builder, this is going to be my dedicated answer to make sure I get chip damage off on it, because nothing on my team really switches into a Giga Drain plus Dragon Pulse. So Assault Vest Hitmontop is going to come in, and that's going to do 12, which is absolutely phenomenal. And we're just going to throw off another close combat because it hits everything on his team super effectively aside from this Sceptile. Get off a clean 52% again. Just going to throw off another close combat because if I get rid of that Sceptile, that's going to be huge. And this close combat only does 47 of this Cobalion, so it's definitely defensive. and then he reveals to be leftovers this turn as well. So really cool set for him. I wasn't really expecting that. This turn he goes for a close combat and gets an unfortunate crit. At this point in the battle, I was freaking out. Not because of the crit, but like I couldn't figure out what this thing's set was, because obviously Hitmontop's damage only did like 47%. And I was calculating the crit damage, and I was like, this thing has to have offense investment, and it also has to have a lot of defense investment, but it has a lot of HP, it has a lot of speed, as we found out. But I was calculating regular, I was calculating Mega Swampert, but I'm obviously still in regular form, and that's why that crit did so much. Obviously, the crit is unfortunate, but we crit his Vikavolt, so I mean, I guess hacks for hacks. It just sucks that Aurora Veil was up at this time. But regardless, I'm going to Mega Evolve and throw off an Earthquake because, again, I'm not really seeing any switch-ins. It's Sceptile, but then that gets knocked out the next turn because I'm in Swift Swim or Swampert. Or not Swampert, Tyranitar to change weather. So I'm going to throw this off, get off a clean 98%, and then just finish it off the next turn. Obviously, he has Sand Up, so Sceptile's pretty free for him here, and he can just fire off a Giga Drain. I'm just going to go into my Hitmontop, standard, rinse and repeat. But yeah, I'm just going to throw off a close combat and get this thing, if not out of the way, in range that I can take it out the next turn very easily. So yeah, I get off the close combat. It does a ton, knocks it out, and then I go down to Sandstorm, which is actually ideal because now I don't have to hard switch into Hitmontop. Or into Politoed, excuse me. But actually, never mind. After thinking out loud, I obviously would have been able to get off a Mach Punch on this turn. I'm going into my Politoed now, get rid of the rain, and he reveals Mold Breaker, which I was really confused about because there's nothing really on my team that he needs to break the mold of, I don't believe. I'll look into that after the game, but it obviously doesn't counteract Swift Swim or Slush Rush or Terra Volt, doesn't stop weather from being set. Maybe I wouldn't get +2 speed from battle or weak armor, but regardless, he goes for Earthquake. Our max defense comes in handy. We throw off the Skulls and knock this thing out. So now it's Cobalion against the world. Game is pretty much over. And this turn, I go into my Kyurem Black, which in the league chat had a lot of confusion. So I'm just going to kind of go through my mindset here. Cobalion that turn could have gone for a Magnet Rise or a Volt Switch. Either way, if he Magnet Rises and I go hard into Swampert, Swampert's going to die to a close combat, and I can't knock it out with a Waterfall. Alternatively, if he goes for a Volt Switch on my Swampert, I just win. But again, if he close combated, then I lose Swampert. Or if he Magnet Rises, I lose Swampert, and it's a 3-0 anyway. If he close combats and I go into Kabutops, I lose Kabutops, and it's going to be a 3-0 anyway. Basically, any way I look at it, I'm going to win 3-0. And I felt Kyurem Black was my safest pivot, because if he Magnet Rises, he can't knock me out with one close combat. As well as Volt Switching. Volt Switch to close combat was a roll to kill, so I basically wanted to make sure that this Cobalion needed to lose one stage of defense, so that way any Waterfall can kill it. Also, Low Kick is a roll to kill from this range from Kabutops, so I didn't want to risk that either. But he goes for the Magnet Rise, so I can just throw off a nice Fusion Bolt, get off good damage, and like I said, he gets a high roll on this close combat, but now he's -1 defense, and I can knock it out very easily the next turn with either Swampert or Kabutops. Yeah, that's going to be the game. We're going to go into Swampert here, just click Waterfall, and then finish it off because he's obviously at -2 defense. That's a really good game to Kyle. He is now 3-3, and we improved to 5-1. Excuse me, and I believe we are +8 or +9, something like that. Yeah, he played it really well. It's just a tough matchup. Obviously, he has Mega Sceptile, which is phenomenal against my team. But obviously setting up sand doesn't really bode well against rain teams because pretty much everything on my team, if he brought T-Tar in hard, actually the only thing he could have brought it in on was Kieran Black, but he was probably fearing the Iron Head as well, which would do a ton to it. So like there's no real safe switch in to get his sand up. Um, so it's tough to play around it when your uh, weather setters lose to the other team's weather setters. But really cool text on his part. Magnaraz Kobalian was really interesting. Life Orb Meloetta was a really good ring. Didn't really see it coming. But yeah, that's a GG to him. And next week we have Luna, coach of the Brookhaven Bonnets, and I believe he is 5-1 as well. So it should be a pretty good game. So until next time, peace.